What's up, fuckers, and welcome back to another rebuild today here on the channel. Today we have the Orlando Magic, a team that is currently 7-30 at the time I'm recording this, and are definitely not going to be competing in the NBA playoffs this year. They are definitely in a rebuilding year. The one good thing we do have going for us here today is there's a lot of young talent on this team. So we just got a normal 3-year rebuild here as always. I'm excited about this one. I think with the a decent amount of pieces on this team, maybe just a couple moves, this team could honestly be in pretty good contention in the Eastern Conference, especially if some of these younger guys like a Cole Anthony, a Franz Wagner end up developing the way I'm hoping them to. So before we do get into this one, as always, you guys got any other video ideas, feel free to leave those down below in my comment section. Try to get a little upload streak here while I am home. Actually, I'm technically at school, but I'm on break right now. And as always, if you guys are new around here, man, feel free to hit that sub button, join the community. And let's get into it, man. Let's get the Magic's championship. So as I mentioned, this team is currently 7-30 in real life. They are 18 and a half games back of the 1 seed right now, which is, it's obviously not going to happen. They're not going to be in the playoffs this year. And that's okay, because I think with the team that we currently have right now, there honestly is a decent amount of potential. We'll go over this roster quickly, as we always do. Cole Anthony's definitely going to be a building block of this team for me. We also have Markelle Fultz, former first overall pick. Might get some decent action for me. Michael Carter-Williams here as well. RJ Hampton's not a bad option there at that shooting guard spot. Him and Jalen Suggs, might be competing for some minutes. Ultimately, are they either of them going to start for me the entirety of this video? I don't really know yet. It really all depends on how well guys do develop, and obviously a big thing here is that I don't play with injuries on, so we do have everybody on this roster right now. We also got Gary Harris, who might be a guy that I trade before we even start year number 1. I'm definitely going to try to maximize some of those older guys, those assets, if you will, and try to get a couple first-round picks for them. Franz Wagner, who has been playing tremendous for them. I believe he's out of Michigan, correct? Yes, he is. 8th overall pick last year. Actually, he's been super, super solid lately. I definitely want to maximize his potential. Terrence Ross, who played the Celtics last night and turned into Michael Jordan all of a sudden. It's actually insane how that happens every single time. He's a guy that could get traded, potentially is on a multi-year deal at 2 years, 24 mil, so don't have to trade him, but again, I would rather get the first-round picks at this point in time with a team I know that's not competing. Admiral Schofield here as well. Wendell Carter Jr. came over in the Nikola Vucevic trade that was made last year at the deadline with the Chicago Bulls. He ended up signing a contract extension with this team. I'm pretty excited to use him. I don't know if he's going to be here the whole time, as I do absolutely love Jonathan Isaac. I love what he, brings to this team. I love his defense. I love everything about him. I definitely want to get him as much playing time as possible. We also have Chuma Okeke down there. Mo Bamba, former 6th overall pick back in 2018, hasn't turned out exactly how everybody thought he was going to turn out, but, there was a logjam. He was behind Nikola Vucevic for a while. He's now playing a little bit more, has looked pretty decent, but ultimately, I don't know. I'm still going to be up in the air with him. I believe he's also in the final year of his contract. If my math is correct, he is. So he'll obviously be restricted this offseason. But again, we're going to kind of have to play it by ear with that one as it comes to our starting center. Then we have Robin Lopez and Mo Wagner as well, brother here of Franz Wagner. All right, we're going to make a trade or two before we do start sim year number 1. I'll see you guys here with that first move. So believe it or not, I tried a multitude of combinations and players, and there was really nothing at the end of the day that was going to get me a first-round pick that included Gary Harris kind of as the main piece. Not really that surprised at the end of the day, but we're going to do this deal here with Oklahoma City. We get a little bit younger. We get a new backup shooting guard. He's making a lot less money on a multi-year deal. We also acquire a second-round pick. So, end of the day, it's probably the lesser of two evils. We're going to go ahead, take the younger player, the cheaper contract, and potentially move him for an asset next year. But I think I do have one trade left, so let's get into that. And our final trade of year number 1 is going to be coming here with the Los Angeles Clippers. We're moving on from Terrence Ross. Ultimately, I could have done it in the offseason, but, we're getting a guy who's younger and Luke Kennard, can shoot the three-point ball decently well, and we're also acquiring a first-round pick. It's not a crazy asset, but it's something down the lines that we might be able to flip potentially for a bigger trade. So Terrence Ross, we thank you for your service here. I felt like the Magic last year at the deadline basically traded everybody and it kind of just left this dude out to dry. Ultimately, they were going into a rebuild. That was very obvious after trading pretty much their franchise player at that point in time in Nikola Vucevic. They just kind of kept Terrence Ross around. I kind of feel bad for the dude. I hope they move on from him soon, at least at the deadline this year. I mean, being 5-30 right now, I don't think keeping Terrence Ross is really going to help you too much. But yeah, we have the team. We have it all figured out. I'm probably going to go ahead and move maybe a Luke Kennard to the backup small forward spot. I don't really think that's going to change change the overall too much. He actually goes up 1 overall, but he'll be backing up Franz Wagner. Unfortunately, Admiral Schofield not going to be getting any minutes. But what I think I'm going to end up doing right now is I'm actually probably going to go ahead and move Wendell Carter Jr. to the center position. I think I do want to get Jonathan Isaac the most playing time as possible. And I know it is a little bit unfortunate that we're not going to be starting Mo Bamba again. I kind of opened the video with this, that I do not really consider him a building block of this team. I'm more than comfortable letting him go this offseason or finding a new home for him. But ultimately, I'd rather build around Wendell Carter Jr. and Jonathan Isaac. So that's why I made the decision that I did. All right, this team is all set for now. I'm going to go ahead and set the rotation. I'll see you guys with it before we do start simming your number one. We finished all the trades that we were going to make, and this team's all set here now at the start of season number one. The rotation's going to look like this. It's going to be Cole Anthony and Jalen Suggs in the same backcourt. Ultimately, I like the potential of Suggs just a little bit more than I do like it of RJ Hampton. I think either of them would fit in and probably put up similar productive numbers, but end of the day, I'm going to go with the fifth overall pick in last year's draft. Franz Wagner has been a tremendous surprise for this team in real life. I did not think he was going to be nearly as good as he has been. Honestly, good for the Magic, kind of hit on that pick. Jonathan Isaac, we made the decision to go ahead and move Wendell Carter Jr. back down to the center spot, clearing the way for Jonathan Isaac to hopefully get some developmental minutes this year. Potentially maybe win a Defensive Player of the Year at some point. He tends to win a lot of those in this game. And then Wendell Carter Jr. taking over at the center position. We have Markelle Fultz coming off the bench. We got Mo Bamba, Luke Kennard, RJ Hampton, and Chuma Okeke. Unfortunately, guys like Robin Lopez, Ty Jerome, just not going to quite crack the rotation, but they are here if we do need them. So it's definitely not a year where we're really going to be winning much. We're not going to be competing for much. Hopefully going to have a high overall pick going into the 2022 NBA draft. I will see you guys at the end of year number one here in Orlando. In the first season here in Orlando does come to an end. It was a pretty painful one, if we're being obvious here. We finished as the 15 seed, so dead last in the Eastern Conference, number 30 in the power rankings. Nikola Jokic, back-to-back, wins his second career MVP. Cade Cunningham, your Rookie of the Year. Andre Drummond, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Wendell Carter Jr. wins Most Improved. 15 points, 10.5 boards, 3 assists. I will take it. Loving what we're putting up from him in the production department. Willie Green, Coach of the Year. Yeah, the Pelicans tend to be pretty good in this game, in case you've never seen one of these videos before. We are dead last here in the Eastern Conference. We finished with 19 wins, which is pretty much kind of on pace for what the Magic are kind of looking like right now. Maybe, honestly, a few less in real life. But obviously, we are number one currently projected the overall pick. Obviously, the top three teams do have the same odds technically, but we're hoping we can kind of end up with it. I'd like that. Cole Anthony leads us in scoring, just under 20 points a game, finishes with 5 rebounds per game and 4.5 assists, and that was Wendell Carter Jr., Markelle Fultz, off the bench, impressive in the 6-man spot. Jonathan Isaac, Jalen Suggs, Mo Bamba, Franz Wagner, Luke Kennard, RJ Hampton, then Chuma Okeke, looks like Robin Lopez snuck in there as well. Rebounds, Carter Jr., and assists was Jalen Suggs. So we will simulate the playoffs. We really don't have to worry about this. We don't have to stress about this. Kind of one of the nice things, if you will, about not being very, very good. I'm sorry. Is 2K, what's up with 2? Well, the Sacramento Kings just did something that I didn't see coming. I don't think a lot of you saw it coming. Typically in the first season, I feel like it's always the 76ers or the Pelicans or the Celtics winning the finals. I just feel like those are always the 3 teams in the mix. But no, it's the Sacramento Kings taking home the 2021-2022 NBA championship. Congratulations, Kings fans. Good for you, I guess. We'll reject all league meetings as always. We now enter a very big night for us, that being the draft lottery. Obviously, as I mentioned, we're tied with the Rockets and the Thunder for the percentage of the number 1 overall pick. Let's go ahead and sim this, and we end up with the number 2 overall pick. It could have been worse. I can honestly live with number 2. I do not know what I'm going to do with that second overall pick yet. We're obviously going to have to decide, take a look at things. Jamal Mosley is the head coach of this team. I'm not going to fire him. We didn't really give him much to work with right now. What I am going to probably try to do is maybe go ahead and sign some other coaches. Like, do I have a post-defensive coach? Yeah, sure. I'll go ahead and sign this dude, whoever you are. Cool. That's the only coach I'm going to sign. We have the number 2 overall pick. As I mentioned, we're probably going to go ahead and glance at some offers. I'm not saying we're going to trade it. I'm not saying we're going to keep it. What we are going to do is explore all avenues before we do make a decision. So what I'm going to do right now is kind of maneuver the trade and finder a little bit, and I'll see you guys if I have a move, or if not, I'll see you guys in the draft. Whoa. Okay. We pulled off a big trade. Wow. I will show you guys the full trade. But yeah, we just got Damian Lillard. We basically just mortgaged our entire future, but we picked up Damian Lillard. I traded our number 2 overall pick this year, Cole Anthony, Markelle Fultz, RJ Hampton, our first-round pick next year, and our first-round pick next year via the Chicago Bulls. So yeah, that's a lot for a 32-year-old point guard, but ultimately, especially here in 2K, it's very, very worth it for me. Taking a look at his numbers last year, 28 points a game, 4 rebounds, 7 assists. I'm doing this one every single day of the week, and it's also not every day I can pick up Damian Lillard. So, welcome to the team at Dame Dollar. Very excited to have you here, picking up a superstar, which is not something that I can say the Orlando Magic have had in a very, very long time, if we're being honest with you. So team player options, Mo Wagner, come back, might recoup a first-round pick for you. I mean, I'm going to give Mo Bamba the qualifying offer. You could be in some sort of deal. moving forward. But right now, I am excited to see what we can do with this team because ultimately we did just trade a lot of our future for a single player, that being Damian Lillard. So I am super pumped about the potential of what this team could do with Damian Lillard, but ultimately it was a lot that we gave up. So we are definitely going to have to recoup some assets here. I think I'm probably going to, re-sign Mo Bamba and then probably trade him for a starting shooting guard, maybe somebody who's just a little bit higher of a caliber, if you will. So we're not going to let Mo Bamba go. I'm not going to renounce the rights on him. What I am going to go ahead and do, wait until after this, where I can give him a real contract, not in the moratorium period. So welcome. Okay, cool. We're good there. And hopefully welcome back to the team, Mo Bamba. I'm going to give you around 20 mil a year. Hopefully we can kind of match that. Oh, nope. I hate how this game does that. Hopefully we can kind of match that with a couple other shooting guards around the league that are pretty decent. I'll see you guys if I have another trade. I don't know if it's going to be possible. I'm going to try to get Shai here from the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'd be willing to give up a lot of first-round picks basically at this point in time. I'll add the exception, and they do agree to that. So Shai's now on this team. We have made some big, big moves in this first offseason here in Orlando, and I think they're moves that needed to be made, ultimately. I really do. We still have Jalen Suggs in this team. We still do have Ty Jerome. What I'm probably going to try to do with some of these guys is kind of recoup some assets, or I could potentially maybe trade them for some other bench pieces. I think Mo Wagner is kind of out of the equation right now. As cool as it is to play with your brother, ultimately you really weren't playing anyways, so it's really not that big of a deal. I can get Larry Nance Jr. for him. All right, that's a huge upgrade. We do have to give up our Milwaukee Bucks first-round pick. We have to use a trade exception, but welcome to the team. And now we have two power forwards that I'm comfortable playing. So we need a backup center right now, and I'm probably going to look to trade Ty Jerome as well. Or I could kind of keep him here as a backup for Dame if he really needed to, have a backup. Same goes with Jalen Suggs. So what I'm going to do right now is look at the center market, see some of the options I do have here. Hassan Whiteside, George Brooks, who's just always here. See, the problem is here, a lot of these guys are just too old, really, and that's kind of what it comes down to ultimately. But I'll sign Whiteside for 2 years. I'll give him about $4.5 million, basically my mid-level exception. He's going to regress a little bit, but we can kind of focus on upgrading that backup center spot in the offseason. But I'm probably going to actually trade Ty Jerome because I do not mind recouping some assets after I legitimately just traded a whole lot of assets for basically 2 players. So we're going to go ahead and just get a first-round pick. Hopefully, yeah, that's fine. Charlotte Hornets, thank you very much. And I'll go ahead and sign a backup point guard. Like I'll sign Elfrid Payton to a minimum contract. Similar kind of, idea at that backup spot where he's not really going to play, but he'll be here if we do need him. We made some serious moves this offseason with this team. I'm excited what the future holds. I will see you guys at the rotation at the start of year number 2. So it's unfortunate to see that Damian Lillard has regressed a little bit here. I'm hoping that overall, productivity-wise, his numbers stay really high, man, or I'm going to be really mad at myself for making the trade that I did. But it went from 91 to an 88. It's still an upgrade at that point guard spot. I know a lot of you are probably going to be mad I traded Cole Anthony. But, you typically do need superstars in this league to win. Not that, Dame's really won much, but you know what I'm saying. Damian Lillard, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Franz Wagner, Jonathan Isaac, and Wendell Carter Jr. are going to be the starting 5 here for year number 2. Our bench unit, Jalen Suggs, Luke Kennard, Hassan Whiteside, and Larry Nance Jr. It's a much different looking team than it was last year. I'm hoping for a much different result as well. I'd like to be in the mix here in the Eastern Conference. I will see you guys at the end of year number 2 in Orlando. We wrap up season number 2 with a much better result than we had in year number 1. We are a 4 seed here in the Eastern Conference. Number 3 in the power rankings as well. It's pretty cool to see. But we're in the mix of it here in the Eastern Conference, which is something that we could not say last year. So, end of the day, the trade's kind of working out for now at least. Luka Doncic, first career MVP, is a rebound and a half off of a triple-double. Chet Holmgren, your rookie of the year, is in Houston. Russell Westbrook made his way over to Golden State. Not sure how that happened, but congratulations to the Lakers for getting him off the team. Jonathan Isaac, Defensive Player of the Year, 9.5 points, 7.5 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks a game. You love to see it from J.I. Isaac Okoro, most improved over there in Cleveland. Willie Green, Coach of the Year. Yeah, the Pelicans are still very good. We will go ahead and take a look at the standings real quick. We finished with a record of 49-33, so not quite over that 50-game threshold that we were kind of aiming at. Ultimately, though, I will take a positive season here in Orlando, especially from being dead last year. Pelicans 1 seed over there in the Western Conference. Only teams with 50-plus wins over there in the West. Dame's still doing his thing. I don't really care what his overall is. He's clearly not the problem here. Ended up with a 3-point percentage of 41.5%. You love to see it. Him and Shai just doing their thing. Very similar in the points department. Wendell Carter Jr., Franz Wagner, Jonathan Suggs, Jalen Suggs, Jonathan Isaac, Hassan Whiteside, Luke Kennard, Larry Nance Jr. Rebounds per game did go to Wendell Carter Jr. and assists was Damian Lillard. So, we are not in the play-in. We do have the Miami Heat here in the first round. We got the Battle of Florida, if you will. Kyle Lowry, Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler, Miles Bridges, a great addition to this team. Bam Adebayo, Anthony Simons, Kyle Kuzma, Max Strauss. They've made some pretty good additions there in Miami. I'm hoping we can get by them here and win the Battle of Florida. We're up 3-0 right now. 3-1, they get a game in, and they're getting 2 games in, and they're getting 3 games in. If I blow a 3-0 lead right now, I'm going to be so mad. We did not blow a 3-0 lead. All right, we got the one-seeded Atlanta Hawks here. Trae Young, Kevin Huerter, DeAndre Hunter, John Collins, Capella. We got Cam Reddish off the bench, Okongwu, Bogdanovich. Looks like they haven't made a ton of changes, but ultimately that Atlanta team is still very good. A team that was in the Eastern Conference Finals. I guess technically in the game now 2 years ago, but you know what I'm saying. We're 2-2 with them right now. We are down 3-2. We're going to Game 7. We're on the road here in Atlanta. Winner is taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Let's see if we can get it done. We cannot. We get eliminated. All right. It's a good progression season. I'm ultimately happy with it. The Pelicans and hypebeast Zion get rookie of the year, get NBA MVP of the finals. That came out really weird, but you know what I'm saying. It was a Pelicans-Cavs final, man, and we're hopefully going to be taking another step in the right direction this offseason, making a couple new upgrades to this team, and I think we'll be in a really good spot. We're going to reject all of these as always. With the draft lottery, I'm pretty sure I traded every single thing that could have been potentially valuable for us. That Chicago pick is projected number 3. I believe it was actually top 3 protected, but yeah, that still sucks. It actually ended up at number 4. We would have the 4th overall pick with that Chicago pick, but we opted for Damian Lillard. Do I want to keep Jamal Mosley? I'm going to look at some candidates. Mike Stauffer's here, obviously. Trent Peterson's here. There's also a Jacob Underwood potentially. So, you know, I don't mind Jamal Mosley, but I do think if we want to win a championship, we do have to move on. Do I have the money for Stauffer? I technically do, and Mike Stauffer's here. He's always a little bit of a fun addition to add to your team here, you know, in 2K. It definitely helps out a bit in the coaching department. So we do have the 26th overall pick at round number 2. I definitely do not need that. We will not be drafting anybody today. I know, you know, I started this video saying there's a lot of young talent on this team, and you're technically right when you're probably saying I traded a lot of it, which I did, but I think the moves we made were worth it at the end of the day, at least for now. All right, we enter a free agency class where it doesn't really look like we really have anybody. Not that I can think of, at least off the top of my head. I mean, the majority of these guys that I really want going forward, they're all still here, so that's really important for me. What I have to decide now is if I want to make a bigger trade. And ultimately, I think I might have to do that. So potentially one of these 3 guys in the starting 5 might have to get traded, or I might have to find a way to move them to the bench. But, you know, I don't mind all of these guys, but is this lineup going to be good enough to win a championship? I don't know. I'll see you guys if I can find a trade or not. So I've decided we got to make an upgrade here at the small forward spot, and it's nothing against Franz Wagner. If he was playing in the game like he's playing in real life right now, I would not be trading him. But if we think about this hypothetically, you know, Jonathan Isaac just won a Defensive Player of the Year award. Wendell Carter Jr. is averaging like 15 and 12. The odd man out here is obviously Franz Wagner. And again, it's nothing against him. I just think Michael Porter Jr. is an upgrade. So can we get the trade to go through? They do agree to that. We actually didn't even have to give up any first-round picks, which is actually kind of huge for me. So we currently have 1 bench player, that being Jalen Suggs. So our bench is definitely going to be a little bit of a weak spot moving forward, and it's definitely something we are going to have to maybe worry about a little bit. I wouldn't mind signing a Kelly Olynyk, getting him on this team. I would not, actually, I don't really want to renounce the rights on Larry Nance Jr. If the game's going to allow me to bring him back, I'm definitely going to go ahead and do that. Is it going to? It is. I'd like to bring back Larry Nance Jr. as well. Hopefully he can come in and be, you know, similar productive numbers as he had last year. In the backup small forward spot, I really don't want KCP. What I'm actually going to probably try to do, actually, I'll sign KCP, and then what I'm probably going to do is probably include him and somebody else in some sort of trade. Also sign like Kenrick Williams, and I'm going to put these 2 in a trade along with a first-round pick and hope for just an upgrade at that backup small forward spot. So we've made a lot of moves today. Some of you are probably questioning some of the moves I've made, and you have a right to, because I have basically destroyed all of the depth that this team did have. But, you know, I think for this team to be competing, we ultimately had to make a lot of these moves. So I'm kind of happy with it now. Jaden McDaniels, welcome to the squad. I'm content with this team, though, you know, no matter what, you know, the end result is. But I'm happy with the moves we made. I will see you guys at the start of the 3rd and final year here in Orlando. Start of year number 3 for us here in Orlando. We've made one other major change to the starting 5, that being the addition of Michael Porter Jr. Dame's also down to an 87, but again, I don't know why his overall would be going down if he just had a year like this. Sure, he's 33 years old, but like, hypothetically speaking, if we went from like 2K22 to 2K23 and Dame put up that as like an actual stat line last year, do you think 2K would drop his overall? Because I don't, regardless of age. It's just kind of a crazy thing that 2K kind of believes in, if you will. But we're not questioning 2K, the worst company on the planet. Damian Lillard, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Michael Porter Jr., Jonathan Isaac, and Wendell Carter Jr. Our bench unit, Jalen Suggs, Jaden McDaniels, Larry Nance Jr., and Kelly Olynyk. It's not the best bench in the world. The bench has maybe been the one, you know, constant that's maybe got a little bit worse throughout the entirety of this video. But other than that, the starting 5 has taken some huge upgrades, and I'm very happy with this squad. I'm hoping to go get a championship this year. We made it all the way to the Eastern Conference semifinals last year, and I'm hoping to make it to the finals this year and win. I will see you guys at the end of year number 3. And we finished the final season here in Orlando as the 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. I'm very happy we were able to accomplish that. 2K has us the 2 seed here in the power rankings. That's fine by me. Luka Doncic, 2nd career MVP. Scoot Henderson, your rookie of the year. I love the fro. James Harden, 6th man of the year. This always happens. He always ends up being a 6th man, whether it's on a team like the Nets or he sometimes ends up in Chicago. It's weird. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Defensive Player of the Year. AO is your most improved. And Willie Green, 3rd year in a row, Coach of the Year. Good for you, Willie. Good for you. We finished with a record of 57-25. That's fine by me. We're technically tied for the best record in the league. Only the defending Pelicans really hopefully stand in our way. Shea, Dame, Michael Porter Jr., Wendell Carter Jr., I always say Jonathan Suggs, Jalen Suggs, Jonathan Isaac, Kelly Olynyk, Larry Nance Jr., McDaniels. Rebounds per game went to Wendell Carter Jr. and assist was Shea. So we'll sim the play and see who we got here in the first round. It's Philly, not exactly my favorite team. Ooh, oh wait, never mind. I thought they moved on from Brick and Larry Simmons. He's just on the bench now. Probably paying him upwards of $25 million. Good for you guys. We'll go game by game right now with the Philadelphia 76ers. We're up 3-0. I'm hoping not to blow a 3-0 lead. We do not. Moving on to the Detroit Pistons. Killian Hayes, Cade Cunningham, Sadiq Bey, Jeremy Grant still going strong. Isaiah Stewart. They have Wiggins now, and they brought back Andre Drummond. Interesting choices indeed. We're up 2-0 here on the Detroit Pistons. They do get a game on their home floor. We win another one. And we're into the Eastern Conference Finals, taking on the Atlanta Hawks, the team that did eliminate us last year. They added Keldon Johnson to their squad. He's a super underrated player still, in my opinion. We're 1-1 with them right now. We go up 2-1. We go up 3-1. Don't blow this, please. We're in the NBA Finals, man. We're taking on two-time MVP Luka Doncic and the rest of the Dallas Mavericks. They also have Duncan Robinson, Josh Green, Pingus, Moses Brown, Celtics legend Moses Brown, Kevin Love, Johnny Davis. I have no idea who they... Oh, yeah, just slide Russ in there. How is Russ a 70? I guess 2K doesn't really like Russ. They used to. All right, we're 1-1 with Dallas right now. We go up 2-1 here. We tie, or excuse me, they tied at 2 games apiece. We go up 3-2, and of course, if we are graced by 2K to win a championship, I will, of course, get you guys some gameplay. But let's see. Can we battle back here a little bit and potentially let me hop in and maybe clutch one out for the boys here today? I don't know. Is it going to be possible? I'm not going to hop in if it's not going to happen. All right, we're not winning this one. We're going to Game 7. We are going to Game 7 here on our home floor, and I would like to win this game. I really, really would. And this is why we can't have nice things. It really, really is. We're battling back a little bit. But yeah, I think that's going to be all she wrote. There's no way we're winning this game. We choke. We choke and we blow series leads, and that's what I do. I guess that really is. Luka Doncic, congrats. You have the widest rotation of all time. All right, well, we made this team a lot better at the end of the day, in my opinion. We brought the Orlando Magic back to relevancy, which is definitely one of my goals today. Obviously, they're not that right now in real life, but I couldn't get a championship, so I guess I failed. As always, you guys enjoyed. Feel free to leave a like down below. If you guys are new around here, feel free to subscribe to the channel. I do want to hear from you guys. Let me know any other video ideas down below in the comment sections. We are going to be transitioning to some rebuild challenges, some fun, more fun rebuilds, rather than just normal rebuilds. So I want to hear from you guys down below in the comment section. As always, that pretty much wraps this one up, though. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll see you guys all in the next one.